Hello fight fans, welcome to episode 6 of the fight game with ST. I'm your host ST, and today I will be reviewing the first Beterbiev Bivol fight and then looking ahead to the rematch. Again, I must add that this is all thanks to His Excellency and Riyadh season for making this all possible. I mean, last year, in fact, since the Day of Reckoning card, December 23, it's been nothing but great fights for boxing fans. As I say, we had the Day of the Reckoning card, we had Fury Usyk 1, we had Joshua Ngannou, although not competitive, but certainly was marketable considering what Ngannou did to Fury the first time round before he fought Joshua. Yeah, as I say, you had the first Fury Usyk fight. You had the 5v5 Queensberry versus Matchroom, Beterbiev versus Bivol, which I'll touch on now. And you had the rematch between Usyk and Fury. So just a fantastic year for boxing. The only thing that I can think of that would have made it even better is obviously Tank versus Shakur, or Canelo versus Benavidez, but Canelo's not going to fight that man anytime soon, and that's a pod for another day, let's just say. So, moving on to the review now. This fight between Beterbiev and Bivol was a fantastic, high-class, high IQ chess match. The fight that I was most looking forward to, other than Fury Usyk 1, was actually this fight. And I think for boxing purists, they would more or less agree with me that, yes, although they were looking forward to Fury versus Usyk the most because it was for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. The last time it was a heavyweight championship fight was for all four belts was, I believe, 25 years ago when Lennox Lewis was the last undisputed champion. And obviously the history of heavyweight boxing is such that, you know, it carries a higher sort of standard. It has a higher standard to in comparison to the rest of the weight classes. Although, you know, other weight classes, in my opinion, are just as equally as good. But Beterbiev versus Bivol was the next biggest sort of fight I was looking forward to after Fury Usyk 1. As I say, a high-class, high IQ chess match. I scored about 115, 113 for Artur Beterbiev, with rounds 5 and 7 being swing rounds. But if I were to score them the other way, my score would still be the same. If I were to score the swing rounds the other way, my score would still be 115, 113 in favour of Artur Beterbiev. Going through the fight now, looking at my notes. Round 1 was, I felt, a clear Dmitry Bivol round. Clearly was landing the better, stronger jabs. Landed a good right hand right at the end of the round, and a counter right hand before. Beterbiev landed some shots, but I think Bivol clearly did the cleaner work. Round 2 again, I scored for Dmitry Bivol. He was clearly out jabbing Artem Beterbiev, landing the cleaner shots. Round 3 I thought was a clear Bivol round. He landed the cleaner shots and was starting to put his punches together, Dmitry Bivol, and I made a comment about him landing the cleaner right hands. Although good pressure starting to build up from Artem Beterbiev, but the cleaner right hands, the cleaner shots were landed by Dmitry Bivol. So I scored round 3 in favour of Bivol. Round 4 was the first round I gave to Artem Beterbiev. I made notes, next to it, great pressure, and then clearly the much busier man, and was the ring general. So round 4 was a clear Artem Beterbiev round. Round 5 was one of my swing rounds. So although I scored the round 10-9 in favour of Dmitry Bivol, because I felt he landed the cleaner shots, cleaner sort of 1-2 combination. He had a good first minute, second minute with his right hands, left hooks. Beterbiev did finish the round strong. So I scored the round for Dmitry Bivol because, like I said, the cleaner shots in the first 2 minutes with the right hands and left hooks. But Artem Beterbiev certainly finished round 5 strong. So although I scored that round for Dmitry Bivol, I wouldn't really have an argument if there were others that scored it the other way for Beterbiev. Round 6, I scored it for Artem Beterbiev. I made a comment that Bivol had a good start, but overall good pressure throughout the round was from Artem Beterbiev, especially now that he started to land body shots, especially in the final minute of the round. So round 6, Artem Beterbiev, because he had good pressure. He displayed good pressure throughout the round and started connecting with body shots as well. Round 7, I felt, was a clear Dmitry Bivol round up until the point he got hurt. So Dmitry Bivol was doing very well. So Dmitry Bivol was doing very well in round number 7. Landing good combinations, the cleaner shots, the right hand left hook, rocked Beterbiev, good jabs, good combinations, was clearly winning the round until the final minute when Artem Beterbiev landed almost, I think it was a left hand / screw shot, like a left jab / screw shot that clearly hurt Dmitry Bivol. And although Artem Beterbiev was rocked in that round, I felt Dmitry Bivol was hurt more with that one left hand screw shot by Artem Beterbiev. And so because he got hurt, I scored that round. Because Bivol got hurt, I scored round number 7 to Artem Beterbiev. However, the reason why I put round 7 as a swing round, because I have no complaints or arguments if there were others that scored round 7 for Dmitry Bivol, because he did overall, as I said earlier, did the cleaner work, with the cleaner shots being landed in combinations. However, he did get hurt in that round. So round 7 I scored it for Beterbiev. However, I wouldn't really have an argument. I wouldn't really argue with others who scored it the other way. for Bivol, as he definitely landed the cleaner work with his combinations. Round 8, I scored it for Beterbiev. I thought that was a pretty clear round with the pressure he was applying and the right hands he was beginning to land on Bivol. Round 9, I scored it for Dmitry Bivol. He did the cleaner work, combinations, lovely combinations on the front foot as well as the back foot. Good body shots being landed by Bivol, and also good combinations, like I said, front foot and the back foot as well, as the pressure was being applied from Artur Beterbiev. Dmitry Bivol was getting off his combinations on the back foot as well. So good round for Dmitry Bivol, round 9. And then it came down to the championship round. So going into round 10, I had Dmitry Bivol up 5 rounds to 4. I scored the first 3 rounds, round 5, and round 9 for Bivol, and I scored round 6, 7, 8, and round 4 for Beterbiev. So going into round 10, I had Bivol up 5 rounds to 4. It was that type of fight. Very close encounter, 2 swing rounds in between, up until the championship rounds. Round 10 round 10 starts. Artur Beterbiev is aggressive in that round. Is applying efficient pressure, is the busier man. Dmitry Bivol lands clean 1-2 in that round. However, the busier man throughout the course of those 3 minutes, with the aggression and the efficient pressure, was by Artur Beterbiev. I thought he clearly won round 10. Round 11, I felt, was another clear round for Artur Beterbiev. I felt it was all Beterbiev. Dmitry Bivol had a good first minute, but it was all Beterbiev after that. And I remember him being hurt with 30 seconds left in the round. Dmitry Bivol is a brave man. A brave man. Those who understand boxing know exactly what I'm talking about. In the final 30 seconds of round number 11, Dmitry Bivol puts both gloves up, has that tight guard, shoulders up, gloves up, keeps a very high guard, and starts walking forward to Beterbiev in an effort to tire him out. And Beterbiev just sees that as an open invitation to just pile on the pressure and stick it on Dmitry Bivol with excellent, powerful, thudding shots to the body and head. The shots to the body were clean by Artur Beterbiev because Dmitry Bivol was keeping a high guard. But my word, even the shots that were being partially blocked by Bivol's guard, you know, I was feeling that as a member of the audience. You know, yes, a lot of Beterbiev's shots in that round were being blocked on Bivol's gloves, but the power that Artur Beterbiev carries, even if he's hitting Bivol's gloves, that glove is still being smashed back. Bivol's own glove is still being smashed back into his face. And he clearly mentioned in one of the post-fight interviews that despite his high guard, whenever Beterbiev was hitting him and hitting his glove, his own glove would then smash back into his eye. And that's why even those headshots were causing me to wince by Beterbiev. And that's why I say Bivol is a brave, brave man. And so round 11 was a clear round for Artur Beterbiev. And round 12, I scored for Artur Beterbiev as well. Again, clearly the busier man, landing good body shots. Bivol himself was landing occasional combinations with body shots themselves, but they were too sporadic, and they were in spurts, but they were too sporadic and not consistent enough. And I felt Beterbiev won the final round clearly as well. So I scored the contest 115-113 for Artur Beterbiev because of the championship rounds. And that was the turning point for me in the contest, those championship rounds, which even Eddie Hearn acknowledged Dmitry Bivol lost. As I said earlier, round 5 and 7 was swing rounds for me. Round 5, I scored for Dmitry Bivol, but if fight fans, score that round the other way, I've got no problems. I scored round 7 for Artur Beterbiev because Bivol got hurt in that round. But, if there are others that scored round 7 for Bivol, I have no problems with that because, as I said, he was clearly landing the cleaner shots in combinations, in effective combinations. The right hand and left hook was beautiful by Bivol. Now, looking ahead to the rematch. First of all, before we look ahead to the rematch, I just have to say, yes, in my opinion, Artur Beterbiev won that contest fair and square. Although, given the closeness of some of the rounds, I wouldn't really argue with a draw. If there were others that had it a draw, I wouldn't really argue with it, especially those that scored round 7 in favour of Bivol, which I gave to Beterbiev. That would then make it 114-114 on my scorecard. It's hard for me to make a case for Beterbiev winning that for Bivol winning that contest, because the rounds Beterbiev won, I felt he won really clearly, whereas the rounds Bivol won, a lot of them were clear, but there were some rounds where when Bivol won those, it's not as clear cut as Beterbiev winning. So for that reason, I feel scores of 114-114 to 115-113 in favour of Artur Beterbiev are fair scorecards. Now, I normally don't like to talk about fighters' personal lives in the podcast because, I like to just, keep it professional on the fighters. Fighters themselves, they are professional athletes. They are called professional. It is called professional prize fighting for a reason, emphasizing on the word professional here. And so, by logic, your personal life shouldn't really affect your professional life as a fighter. But we're all human beings, and we're all human beings at the end of the day. And if there are problems in someone's personal life, unfortunately, a lot of the time that does creep into their professional life, or it can creep into the professional life as well. And that's not human beings being weak or, not stoic enough. That's just human nature. Sometimes when someone's personal life gets out of control, it's undoubtedly going to seep into their professional work. And look, I don't know what was going on regarding Bivol's divorce issues, and if the allegations against Dmitry Bivol are in fact true and are supported by evidence, then of course Dmitry Bivol should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I mean, listen, I have a mother, I have cousin sisters, I have an aunt. I want them all to be safe. And so if the allegations are supported by sufficient evidence, then of course Bivol should face prosecution. However, at the same time, I must say that there is a time and place to expedite all of this, because at the end of the day, Dimitri's ex-wife, whatever her name is, I think Katerina or Kate, or I don't know. The fact of the matter is that she knows what she's doing, in the sense that at the end of the day, that's still her children's father, regardless of how she feels about Dmitry or what he's allegedly done to her. At the end of the day, that's still your children's father getting in the ring with not just any ordinary light heavyweight, with the unified number one ranked light heavyweight at the time, who carries, with an absolute Herculean physique of a body, who carries titanic power in both fists, and is perfectly able to knock Bivol out with either hand. That's the power that Beterbiev carries. And she knows this. You know, she's not silly. She knows how dangerous of an opponent Artur Beterbiev is. You know. And like I said, if those allegations are supported by evidence, then of course Bivol should face the law. However, I just feel there's a time and place to expedite all of this, because at the end of the day, that's still your children's father getting into the ring, you know, with an absolute Terminator of a machine, because that's what Beterbiev is. He's a Terminator whose stamina levels seem to be going up and up and up as the rounds progress. Hopefully, people won't have such distractions in the build-up to the rematch. Just looking at the punch stats as well, guys. If we can get it out here. It seems Beterbiev's punch output is going up and up and up as the rounds are progressing. I'm just looking at the punch stats now for Artur Beterbiev. I just found this quite sort of fascinating. So he's looking at the total punches landed. Artur Beterbiev starts round 1 throwing 33 punches. Round 2, 41. Round 3, 68. Round 4, 55. Round 4, 55. Round 5, 57. Round 6, 58. Round 7, 74. Round 8, you have a dip of 46. Round 9, 45. But then round 7, from round 9, he's throwing 45 punches. To then round 10 and 11, he's throwing 70 and 72 punches respectively. And then round 12, 63 punches. I mean, that's incredible. It's like his stamina is just increasing like as the fight progresses, it seems. So as the fight's going on and on through the rounds, it seems that his stamina seems to get better and better and better with his remarkable punch output that seems to increase more and more and more as the rounds go on. I mean, that is just phenomenal and remarkable for a guy who I believe is nearly 40 or is about to turn 40. Let me just check now. Artur Beterbiev. Well, he'll be 40 in a few days' time. That's remarkable. You know, and it does beg the question, how is it that a man is able to increase his punch output like that as the rounds are progressing at his age? Normally, most fighters, even in their prime, the punch output numbers don't really match the ones that I've seen with Artur Beterbiev. Now, I'm not trying to insinuate and imply anything because obviously I don't have evidence. So I'm not insinuating or implying anything for those of you listening in. But it is something to be noted with regards to his punch stats and whether that will remain the same. Again, to all the listeners, to all the fight fans listening, I'm not insinuating or implying anything. I'm just reflecting on the punch stats. Before I speak about the rematch, I just want to touch on the mentality of Eastern European fighters because I don't think it gets spoken about enough. Paulie Malignaggi often speaks about it in his videos, but I think it's something to be said for all the fight fans listening, how I too very much agree with him, because I do think that the mindset of a fighter, especially from the Eastern European bloc, the Eastern European group of fighters, I do agree with Paulie Malignaggi that they are a lot tougher mentally. And that's reflected in the ring, but also in their personality types as well. Examples in the ring include Bivol's victory over Canelo Alvarez. You know, yes, Bivol technically was better throughout the course of the 12 rounds and landed high number of punches compared to Canelo and effective punches, which is why Bivol won that fight. So that's the obvious, but what's not spoken about enough, I feel, is Bivol's mental resilience throughout the fight, of not being dissuaded or discouraged by Canelo's power at any moment during the contest. I mean, I remember Canelo just winging shots in, and Bivol spoke about this after the fight, about his arm being all bruised up, and how Canelo's one punch power is even stronger than Beterbiev's because Canelo puts everything into that one punch. But how, because of Bivol's mindset and the strength of his mental resilience, he was still there in front of Canelo He wasn't what's the word, submitting to him at any point. And that word is important, submitting, because a lot of Western fighters that Canelo has fought in the past, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, although no fighter will say this after the fight, during the contest you can clearly see these Western fighters, mentally submitting to the power and skill of Canelo. And Bivol did not do that at any point. And so that just goes to show the Eastern European mentality, the Eastern European fighter's mindset is certainly a lot tougher and stronger from a mental perspective compared to Western fighters. So that's an example of in the ring of a fighter showing, an Eastern European fighter showing his mental resilience, but even outside the ring as well. And I can point this to their personality types of Bivol, Beterbiev, and Usyk all being very, very similar. This similar sort of demeanor of, good morning, how are you? Yes, fine, thank you. Woke up, trained, ate, back to sleep, woke up again, eat, train, back to sleep. They give off that sort of demeanor, very robotic-like in terms of their personality. All three fighters that I mentioned, very level-headed. You can tell when they get happy, they don't get too happy. Likewise, when they get sad about things in life, or having a bad day in the gym, they don't get too depressed either. And so all three fighters that I mentioned, you can clearly tell that their mentality outside of the ring perfectly summarizes one of Anthony Joshua's slogans, which is, don't let success get to your head, and at the same time, don't let failures get to your heart. Because these guys are just built differently from a mental perspective. They're very level-headed, very calm, composed, don't have tantrums like a Tyson Fury or even an AJ after his second Usyk loss. They're just calm, composed, robotic-like, very mentally balanced. And that's what makes them overall mentally a lot stronger compared to fighters from the West, who, yes, have had easier upbringings than fighters from Eastern Europe. Gennady Golovkin, another example of someone who is mentally very, very strong. A lovely man outside the ring, but you can see that mental strength in the ring. So yeah. As far as the rematch goes, even though I scored the first fight for Artur Beterbiev, I'm going to lean towards Dmitry Bivol. He is the younger, fresher man. Although Beterbiev's stamina levels are extraordinary for his age. But Bivol is the younger, fresher man. He is naturally the better boxer. And therefore, he has more margins for improvement, in my opinion, than Beterbiev, who is, despite being a powerhouse, is more of a limited fighter compared to Bivol, but carries titanic power in both fists. And that's why I am leaning towards Bivol, the younger, fresher man, number one. Number two, the better boxer, so he has more margins for improvement in his game than Beterbiev, who most people know what he's going to do. Again, it's not going to be much different. I don't think so anyway. He is what he is. He's a come forward pressure fighter, like a Gennady Golovkin. That's what he excels at. He's a front foot pressure fighter like Triple G. Whereas I just feel Dmitry Bivol can add more bows to his string. The one thing that concerns me is that even though I'm leaning towards Bivol in the rematch, what concerns me is that in their first encounter, yes, Bivol briefly hurt Artur Beterbiev in round number 7 with a beautiful right hand left hook combination, then following up with another combination, backing Beterbiev up against the ropes. But Beterbiev just landed that one left hand screw shot in return, and Bivol clearly was a lot more hurt than Beterbiev was in that round. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, guys. In round 7, both fighters were hurt, but Bivol was clearly the one who was significantly more hurt than Artur Beterbiev. And again, Bivol was hurt by the pressure of Beterbiev in round number 11, with a final minute to go. Beterbiev was absolutely ripping into Bivol with shots both to the head and the body. I mean, he was vicious, absolutely vicious. Artur Beterbiev. And so that's what concerns me about my prediction, is that yes, although I'm leaning towards Bivol, the better boxer, more margins for improvements, the younger, fresher man. The fact of the matter is that based on what I saw in their first fight, especially in round 7 and round 11, if Bivol is not tight defensively again, I mean, I can see him getting knocked out with a left hook or a right hand by Artur Beterbiev. That's how I see it. So I'm leaning towards Bivol, but I can just as easily see him getting stopped as well by the pressure of Beterbiev. Based on the evidence I saw in the first fight. So yeah, that's my prediction for the rematch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like listening to my podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help me help the show go a long way. As I say, I try to be as honest as I can and as authentic as I can be with my views. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I shall see you all on the next one.